again, remember their system, because some people say, well, that's being part of the team, quote unquote. They're not part of the team. They're the deep state. So they're the assassins killing out the great employees. They're just barely okay employees, no matter what they tell you in the records. Background investigation for bullshit. The records of these people is bullshit. What they do is they put them in jobs and then they throw the budget at them, all that money, and you can't help but do something right. Right? They're not like original thinkers or anything like that. Actually, the techies are barely original thinkers. They steal stuff from everybody all the time and then dare them to say anything. They're deep state. Right. So, I told you in the academy, a NASA auditor was trained to be 1811, and he told me about an audit. He goes, "Is how it really works." They were auditing some contractor, like our buddy Elon, I guess, but it was years ago. Right. So he said they were, building a case. There was issues, and all of a sudden, this letterhead from the senator comes in, drop the investigation. They drop the investigation. So again, we don't have to guess who senators are sometimes, especially when one of them CIA, the company. They all work for the company instead of the United States. Right. I'm not anti-CIA. I'm anti-corruption. Is it all corrupt? Is that what it is? Is that what you're saying? So Marine Corps Castles, name will be protected to protect the other idiot, not the other idiot. That's to protect the innocent. He tells me something when I get to the courthouse. To me, I'm like, that's weird. Okay. About one of the VSP employees. Then he started operating me with what I believe the VSP employee was operating with. He had information about somebody. So he's the guy that cleans the courthouse. Right. So I'm like, Tom's like, and they let him stay working. So something, right. Oops. So Castles tells me something. I didn't think much of it. I'm like, yes. Because he's like, this guy maybe had some trouble. And I'm like, okay. They started using that operation on me. And actually, they were doing it from day one. But again, you just think, okay, this is weird. I guess this woman's bored in the courtroom. She's trying to track me. I don't know what the attraction is, but I'm married. Right. Well, all of a sudden, the stalker showed up. They even tried to work me like using Shelton as bait. It wasn't an investigation. Don't even try to cover it with that. Right. And it involved Dick Goodwin. That's where I didn't figure it out then and there. I thought it was weird. And I did figure Dick Goodwin was part of it, but I didn't know enough. I was still in the Marshal Service. Right. So when I left the Marshal Service, I just dropped it. I just thought it was a local bullshit thing of a bunch of assholes, But again, they wouldn't stop. I guess they wanted to show me how it was global or something. Yeah, it's real smart, right? You got real intelligent people there. Right. So when the assassinations were going on, Dick Goodwin shows up. So again, later on, I figured it out. He's the go-between, right? The people with the money, right? I don't know if he had a PI. I imagine he had a PI license or something. And in fact, Dick Goodwin could be one of the people that killed Bill Scott and ran him off the road, or he's involved with it, or was involved with it. I'm sure he's passed on at this point. Right. Used to be a supervisor in the District of Maryland before I got there. Obviously dirty as the day is long. So, whoever the corruption was, they needed to take out my supervisor because he wasn't part of their game. Right. They did neuter him a little bit, right. But he transferred another office. Can't remember if he came back to that one or not. And they killed deputy director was named Duffy. Used psychology and drugs on him. Of course, if you think about it, they'll tell you that he was a child molester. He had a daughter and all. It's just their usual scam in the mind, right? Like Trump's a pedophile. Because they're trying to manipulate Trump. That's why they say it. Now they killed him because he was in a position that they wanted. Now, of course, when it all happens, they go, well, he could have just walked on. He didn't have to stay there and kill himself. Most of the time, you don't even know what they want. It takes years to figure it out. And they don't care. They just want to kill people. They're a psycho. They get the most money when they kill people. Of course, China and Russia are going to, no doubt. The information I received psychically is the arrests, the corruption arrests in Baltimore were not all the arrests that could have been done. They just said, we're going to wake these people up and get them to stop the best we can. Right. They took the worst case scenarios and arrested them. Or worst case. So that's my thing. If you allow people to be corrupt, when you decide you want to change that, you should do it slowly. You should, play a game and come up. Some people, they think that's how government works. Believe me, I think government is corrupt. There's nothing other than corrupt government. They came up out of the academy and they entered into corruption. Right. And I'm not like an asshole. I mean, I give people, I would say give people breaks. I gave people breaks. I never called internal or anything. Enough time for internal. I think I look at internal like journalists. There's time for that. Right. Well, actually, a lot of journalists work for me inside somehow. They do my cases. Maybe it's else. I don't know. Yeah, the murder in Santa Fe was a big one. Yep. I'm sure they knew I was tied to that one. As far as, that was the people coming after me. They were in training, is what they were. But eventually they would have been made wealthy. But, they screwed up. I mean, the psychology that they put into these people, Jesus, right? No longer human, really. So remember when they said Bush and the skull and crossbones thing? That was a psyop to discredit anything I or whoever else was with me. Because it's what it is. It's like a fraternity. It's not Bush. I don't think Bush was part of it that deep. Obviously, he was a player to get where he did. Right? But when it came to killing military veterans, I don't think he was part of that. Right? Nor Dick Cheney. Right? That was solely CIA idiots. And I guess he blamed some of the U.S. attorneys. Or all of them, I don't know. So their thing was, they kept transmitting that the president is authorized to do this, us to do this. So it didn't come in until after I left, a couple of years, and after the dismissal of the U.S. attorneys, it came in that George Bush didn't authorize what they did. He authorized something, but not what they did. But again, they were gaming George Bush. Let him take the fall for what they were doing. The world according to Big Lair. It's all that matters, actually. So I hope you're all enjoying your Goyim Day. We need to sharpen the mind of the military force. Make them all have the reflexes of a SEAL and a special forces medic whose goat is dying because he took his eyes off the goat. Apparently, in special forces at one point or another, I think Rangers did some of this too. But they would, you actually had to wound the goat. You had to halfway butcher it or something like that. And then you had to save it. But you couldn't take your eyes off the goat. If you took your eyes off the goat, the instructor would rip the tubes out of the arm of the goat or wherever it was of the goat. Your IVs and stuff. And then your goat starts flatlining or whatever. You have to rush to save it again, I think at the end they cook the goat. That's what they do when they eat it. It's like kind of their whatever it is, their ascension to special forces medic. Or whatever it was. I think it's Rangers or Special Forces. I think it was Special Forces and Rangers. I think Rangers did something where they would do sentry. Yeah, that's how they train sentry. They used to at least train sentry removal and then eat the goat. Well, you go through the training, and then you have to kill the goat like it's a person. So they know that you can do it when it comes time. Right. But you have to train on something. I mean, a special forces medic is useless unless they can, at least do veterinary medicine. In fact, I think most medics in the Army are veterinary quality. I don't know about humans. Right. I guess you train at hospitals too and stuff. Well, my goal is actually to do the Special Forces medic. I was already, sapper, and I was going to do Special Forces medic, and then I figured if worse comes to worse, I could always be a PA, but they ruined my life. I had no clue what was going on. So the drawdown in 1993, or 1992, 93 was actually a deep state thing. Right. Then he started begging me to come back, and I'm like, no. No, they knew how to do it. Right. I had no idea I was being played. Well, our first sergeant switched to this LDS guy. Should have known. He was a platoon's acting, he was platoon sergeant. And if it wasn't for him, I'd have probably stayed in the military and become something like Special Forces, if not. Yeah, long story, but. Who knows? I mean, again, to me, they're looking to kill out anything else that's a contrary, contrary to what they are. We are the boss kind of deal, right? So again, if you're a big Jew, they'll be killing you just by the nature of what their mind actually is versus what it was when they created the religion, and of course what they're supposed to be or what